Top 10 Most Expensive Guitars Sold at Auction. Hello and welcome to Locks Aura channel, the place that inspires you to live a beautiful, successful, and elegant life. In this video, we will be showing you our top 10 list of the most expensive guitars sold at auction. Guitars, as everyone who has one knows, can grow rather pricey. Wood, pickups, and strings of higher quality all contribute to a guitar's overall quality and workmanship as you rise through the ranks. Guitar auctions are dominated by links between artists and auction houses. Because of their rockstar lineage, the most costly electric guitars and acoustic guitars in the world are worth more than any immaculate condition 1959 Gibson Les Paul. However, none of these guitars will be available in your neighborhood guitar store since they are among the most sought after in the world. Here are the 10 most expensive guitars ever sold at auction to back up this idea. The total selling price is $23,069,000, which is enough to purchase 122,000 Squier Bullet Stratocasters or the whole Suhr guitar production for a year. Everything else, on the other hand, is up for grabs. So keep watching to find out which instruments make it into the list of the top 10 most expensive guitars ever put up for auction. Number 10. Eric Clapton's Blackie Fender Stratocaster, sold in New York 2004 for the price of $959,000. Blackie established a world record auction price when it was purchased, but it is currently just making it into the top 10 most valuable art pieces. When Clapton became interested in a Fender Stratocaster in 1970, he purchased the whole supply from Showband Music in Nashville. He gifted 3 to his pals George Harrison, Pete Townshend, and Steve Winwood, and used the remainder to build his perfect Strat, a 1956 body, a 1957 neck, and a third guitar's pickups, 2 1950s models, and 1 1970 gray bottom, which he built into his ideal Strats. From 1974 through 1985, Clapton used it virtually entirely in his performances. After a while, the neck had become so worn that the low E string dangled over the side, which is probably why it didn't quite reach the $1 million milestone. Number 9. Bob Dylan's 1964 Fender Stratocaster, sold in New York 2013 for the price of $965,000. Dylan switched to electric guitars at the 1965 Newport Folk Festival, bringing up this 1964 Stratocaster, which he later flew away on a private jet. Vic Quinto, a pilot, was the one who picked it up, and it remained in his family for over 50 years. The 3-tone sunburst finish seems to be in outstanding shape for a gigged instrument, with few dents or fading visible in the auction catalog photographs. Even without taking into consideration of the history of the instruments, this was an excellent example of a pre-CBS Stratocaster. According to projections, it might bring up to $500,000 if the original strap and case were included. In the end, it managed to steal Blackie's crown. Number 8. David Gilmour's Martin D35, sold in New York 2019 for the price of $1,095,000. In 2003, David Gilmour told BBC Radio 4's Desert Island Discs that if he were trapped at sea, his Martin D35 guitar would be the one luxury item he'd bring with him. "It's the greatest guitar I've ever owned," he said. "The guitar is constantly at my side, and it's a good thing. I've used that guitar to write almost every piece of music I've ever composed. That guitar is where my thoughts originate from." It was included on every Pink Floyd album from Dark Side of the Moon 1973 to The Final Cuts 1998, with Wish You Were Here being the most famous example 1983. The 1969 D35, on the other hand, proved to be less than completely vital, as Gilmour auctioned it off to support the Climate Earth charity. Number 7. Duane Allmans 1957 Gibson Les Paul, sold in Dallas 2019 for the price of $1,250,000. Guitar enthusiasts may be astonished to learn that the most costly Les Paul is not a burst, but rather a 1957 gold top model. A sunburst model was eventually substituted for it on the first two Allman Brothers albums, as well as Derek and the Dominoes' Layla and other assorted love songs, before Duane turned it in for a new one. Because Allman insisted on maintaining the pickups, this instrument now has the humbuckers that were originally on the bursts. Tom Murphy restored it to its former splendor after it had been severely polished by a future owner. Thanks to the frequent lending out by its former owner Scott Lamar, it has appeared on stage with artists like as Billy Gibbons, Kirk Hammett, and Derek Trucks, among others. Number 6. David Gilmours' 1954 Fender Stratocaster, sold in New York 2019 for the price of $1,815,000. Here is another guitar that would have been valuable even if it didn't come from the Pink Floyd stable of fame. Despite the fact that it is not the very first Strat, which was #0100, it is among the earliest pre-production Strats supplied to Fender endorsees according to its serial number of #0001. The initial owner was country music singer Rex Gallion, and the vehicle was previously owned by actor Seymour Duncan on the way to Gilmour. The fact that it was also utilized to capture the rhythm portions that were reminiscent of Nile Rodgers on Another Brick in the Wall was only a bonus. The auctioneer Christie's estimate of $100,000 to $150,000 proved to be excessively pessimistic in the end. Number 5. Jerry Garcias Wolf, sold in New York 2017 for the price of $1,900,000. This was luthier Doug Irwin's custom invention for the Grateful Dead musician, and it is the only guitar on display that was not made by a major guitar manufacturer. When Irwin combined laminated maple and Purple Heart, an extraordinarily tough South American wood, he came up with an instrument that had a completely unique form, hardware, and control scheme. A clever plate system enabled Garcia to swap different pickup systems on the fly, and two outputs let him to operate his effects, loop independently, and switch it away from the instrument as necessary. The Wolf, which has become iconic among Deadheads, was the centerpiece of a Grateful Dead auction that collected $3.2 million for the Southern Poverty Law Center, a civil rights organization. Number 4. John Lennon's Gibson J160E, sold in Los Angeles 2015 for the price of $2,410,000. The addition of a pickup to a regular acoustic guitar was a stroke of genius on the part of Gibson, providing rock and rollers with just what they needed to be heard. This specific guitar was used by John Lennon to create successes such as I Wanna Hold Your Hand and to record the majority of the acoustic parts of Beatles songs from 1962 to 1963. This acoustic guitar was indeed used on the Beatles' first US #1 single, Love Me Do, but it was stolen from them during a Christmas concert performance in 1963. Lennon replaced it with a J160E, and the Beatles continued to use them for the remainder of their career. Given its importance to rock history, it should come as no surprise that when it was re-released in 2015, it commanded a world record price. Number 3. Reach Out to Asia Fender Stratocaster, sold in Qatar year 2005 for the price of $2,700,000. The Reach Out to Asia Strats, which is unique in that it was never held by a celebrity, was auctioned off to raise money for the victims of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Eric Clapton, Brian May, Jimmy Page, David Gilmour, Jeff Beck, Paul McCartney, Mark Knopfler, Ray Davis, Liam Gallagher, Ronnie Wood, Tony Iommi, Angus and Malcolm Young, Pete Townsend, and Bryan Adams all signed the humble and modest Mexican Standard Stratocaster. It was a heartfelt Mexican Standard Stratocaster that bore the signatures of Mick Jagger. Made in Mexico products have arrived. As of 2005, Strats were selling for approximately $350,000, making this axe undisputably the most costly axe of all time. Number 2. David Gilmours Black Fender Stratocaster, sold in New York 2019 for the price of $3,975,000. With $4 million, you could own a slew of Strats, but none quite as unique as this particular one. Although your local antique dealer may tell you the customized guitars are worth less, the Black Strat sold for the equivalent of a Beverly Hills house, despite the fact that it had been extensively tampered with. In addition to the famed shorter whammy bar, it came with a sales receipt for the 3 special pickups wound by Seymour Duncan specifically for Gilmours guitar. This is the guitar used in the Comfortably Numb solo, which was Gilmours' most popular solo from 1970 through 1986. Journalists were taken aback by the price, but guitarists were certain that we would have purchased it if we had the money. Number 1. Kurt Cobain's Martin D18E, sold in Los Angeles 2020 for the price of $6,010,000. Because there wasn't much else to do in summer 2020 but play guitar and buy on internet auctions, Kurt's guitar may have broken all previous records with such a vengeance in the first place. In addition to Nirvana's legendary MTV Unplugged concerts, which included a goosebump-raising version of David Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World, the D18E was utilized during the band's infamous MTV Unplugged sets. Because that performance was shown on television and received international acclaim, this legendary instrument is inextricably linked to Kurt Cobain. After the auction, the individual with the damaged pocketbook turned out to be Rode Microphone's owner, Peter Friedman. However, COVID-19 has so far prevented him from exhibiting the guitar on a global tour, which he has pledged to do. It seems that, as is the case with most mementos or collectibles, prior owners, important dates and events, and one-of-a-kind bespoke designs all play a considerable role in determining the value of such artifacts. When it comes to guitars, it is undeniably more about who has played, performed, and recorded with them than it is about anything else. You're purchasing a piece of history and a piece of someone's narrative, which, depending on its importance, may be considered virtually valuable in and of itself. Thank you for watching the top 10 most expensive guitars sold at auction. If you enjoyed watching the video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos like this. We'll see you next time.